Welcome to Retro Scale Modelling. This is part 2 of AMT's Star Wars Battle of Hoth action scene, and it's from the movie The Empire Strikes Back. The scale of the kit is 1:156. In part 2, I'm going to be concentrating on the base, so getting the base prepped and ready for building. So let's jump into this and see how well I get on. My first job is to create a base, and this is just going to be a very simple base. So it's just a piece of foam back card that you can pick up in any hobby shop or online, obviously. And I'm just going to mark out the base size on it. Then I'll just simply cut out the relative shape. It's just a rectangular shape, so there's no hassle involved. And this stuff cuts really well as well. It's not a hard foam, it's quite light. So just one little pass with my hobby knife and I've got the desired size. And then all I'm going to do now is spray it with some white glue, some PVA glue, all over, and then simply place the base on top. And I'll use a couple of clamps around the edges just to make sure it's going to stay down. Now, because I'm using PVA glue, this will take a couple of hours to dry, but plenty enough time to get on with other things. As I said in part 1, I don't like the shield generator moulding, so I'm going to make my own. So I've taken a measurement of it, and then I'm just going to set my compass to that measurement before drawing the circle that I need. And then I'll just draw the circle. Now I'm using a thin plastic card for this, and then I'll just simply cut out the shape, and I'm just doing it by freehand. So I'll cut out the disc-like shapes and some strips of plastic card as well. So then it's back to the base, and I have to remove the shield generating moulding. So I've got a sharp hobby knife, and I'm just going to be cutting these off. Now the sun's glaring off. There's something terrible. So yeah, just trying to zoom in a little bit so you can see. And the reason why I don't like the moulding on here, it's not very well defined. Now I'm not saying I'll make a better job of it, but the ones that I'll do, I'll stick out and stand out a little bit more. But first of all, I've got to take the arch off of these shield generators, so I'm just cutting along it before I remove them. And what I've done is I've just cut out the centerpiece and not the arch itself. I decided in the end to do it this way, so that then I can start taking measurements on the disc that I have, just so that I know where everything is going to be placed, and making little location marks on, so I know where to cut each disc and where each disc will line up to the actual mould before I take it off. Now I take all the discs together, and I'm just simply going to drill a hole right through the centre of these discs. Now I'm using the Tamiya's drill here, so it's quite a slow moving drill, but I will not burn the plastic. So that's the pilot hole drilled, and now I'm just pushing this pencil through just to open it up a little bit. Then I'm going to use my hobby knife to create a larger hole. Now I want the circumference of a pencil, so I'm just placing this in and twisting it around until I get the desired size. I'll then just put a rough file in there just to finish everything off and open up slightly more so that I can get my pencil in there. So just checking for fit and pushing the pencil all the way through. And the reason why I want it to be the pencil width is because I'll be using a pencil to create the connection parts of the generator. So I've got the pencil and I've sewn off the pencil tape, and I'm just going to be placing these through like so. So it is a tight fit, but because it's thin plastic card, they will just get pushed through. Now I'm just demonstrating here how I think it's going to look. So you can see the arch of the generator and the more defined sidewall for it, with the pencil acting as the connection rod. So I've decided it was actually a good idea to put them in position now anyway before I cut off the arch. That way it'll be a lot easier to connect the side panels to the arch. So I'm just lining everything up and pushing it through. Now it still looks rough at the moment because there's a bit of tidying up needing to be done near the end. And once the glue set, and I should point out I just used a bit of super glue here just for quickness, and it was a simple case of cutting off the roots of the arch to take them off. And then I'm just separating the rest of the plastic here and then patting everything down, and I'll be cementing that flat to the plasterboard or foam board, so they're going to sit more proudly. Now the next part's not really necessary, but it gives it a bit more rigid. It makes it a little bit more rigid, and so I'm just placing a bit of card on the underside of it, just to hold the two discs apart a little bit more on the underside of the arch. So you will not actually get to see this part once it's in situ. It just makes it a little bit easier handling when it comes to placing the shield generator on. And once everything is dry, I'm just placing on a band, but it's going to be 2 bands on each edge of the generator's arch to give it more definition when it sits in position. So I'm simply anchoring one piece into position, then I'll just curl the strip of plastic card around the arch. And I'll do this for both edges on all 3 arches, of course. Next, I'm making up some little boxes as housing units. Now, I couldn't get these to work, so I won't be using them. But you will see them in place within the build before I decide to take them off. So I thought I would show you building them anyway. And it's just a fairly simple construct of building a box, really. So just a couple of strips of plastic card and built. If I did have any sort of leftover parts from other sprues similar to that, it may have worked out better. But I built them too big, and I just didn't want to go through all the palaver building them smaller, rebuilding them, but smaller. So these are the little boxes, and they were going to go on the side like this. These were also designed to hide any of the joins as well, but I made them too large. It just didn't look right once I put everything in position. So what I done in the end was I filled up some little gaps with sprue glue, and I'll get them sanded down and painted when it comes to painting the actual thing. Now, to add different texture to the base, what I've got some here is ground down cat litter, so powdered cat litter, and then what I'm doing is I'm placing some white PVA glue to this, and I'll mix it all up so it all becomes gluey and it'll clump together like so. I'll then take this mixture and spread out where the shield generator is going to go. Now this can be a very messy process at this stage. And once I think I've got enough in there, I'm just going to place the generator and press it down so everything is firmly in place in the mould. Well, not in the mould, but in the ground texture. And because it's all mixed up with PVA glue, it will all dry together. This will take a few days to dry though. And it's always wise to spray a little bit more PVA glue over the top as well, and this will stop any loose parts just from flitting off as you do it. But once I've got it in position, I'm just going to be building it up into a mound, so it's graduating from the base up to the actual shield generator itself. Now, it was at this point that I decided to take off the little square box things because I really just didn't like the look of them. But apart from that, I think it's actually working out quite well. So off comes the little side boxes, and because they're made of super glue, attached with super glue, it's quite easy to take them off because super glue doesn't react well to plastic on plastic. It's actually quite a brittle joint, so I was able just to prise them off without any problems. And I'll just remold the cat litter mixture to the area where the box was. And as I said, this will take a couple of days to dry. It's quite a dense material that I'm using, and there's a lot of PVA glue in here. So I want it 100% dry before I prime it. But that's what I'll be doing. I'll go away, let it dry, then I'll prime the whole thing white again, and I'll see where I go from there. So if you haven't done so already, why don't you check out the channel for my other builds? If you subscribe to the channel, please do so. Make sure you hit the notification bell, that way you'll be kept up to date, not only with this build, but all my other builds as well, of course. Hit the like button, don't be afraid to leave a comment, and of course you can share the video. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.